Advanced Dungeons & Dragons DragonStrike is one of 3 Advanced Dungeons & Dragons games for the NES. In this game you get to choose from one of 3 dragons, each with their own attributes, and you are given a variety of missions to then undertake in order to save the realm, of course. The game actually comes as a bit of a surprise, as it's really well presented and a lot of fun. It's best described as an action flight sim. You take control of your chosen dragon, and then after your mission briefing, which again for a game of this time is actually quite rare, you are thrown into the action. Your dragon is constantly moving, so you only need to steer it left or right, as well as choosing between 2 heights at which you can fly it, and of course you need to use your magic or your fire breath. Each level puts you up against a wide range of enemies, starting off with archers and catapults, and progressing to make you fight other dragons, giants, and also huge bosses that really give you a challenge. With the smaller enemies, you have to make sure you're flying at the lowest altitude in order to be able to attack them, otherwise you'll just fire straight over their heads. Likewise, for flying enemies you have to watch where they are flying also, as you have to make sure you're flying at the same altitude as them to hit them. They can also move up and down in height with you, so this can get a bit fiddly at times. Luckily, the controls are pretty responsive, and you do get used to this fairly quickly. Something that is not so simple though, is knowing which parts of the scenery you are able to fly over, and you might just find that you use a lot of health just by flying into trees or mountains that you thought you were able to fly over. There isn't much indication of what you can and can't hit, so really it's just trial and error. The levels themselves have a good amount of variety. You fight in forests, over swamps, over mountain ranges and ice caps. It all looks very good. The enemies in the game also look nice, with some pretty good animation for the most part. However, I don't really get why all the flying enemies spin in a crazy circle when they've been killed. Though this doesn't really affect anything, it just looks a bit odd. There are about 15 missions in the game, which mostly have different objectives, which again is something that doesn't very happen much in these old games. Mostly they do involve just killing things, but a lot of the time it's just not another dragon. You have to bring down fleets of ships in narrow chasms and then fight the huge bosses. It's very pleasing. So the controls in the game are good, the game is varied, and it looks nice too. It's a solid game, and it's surprising that it didn't get much love when it was released, as it really is a lot of fun. Definitely worth a look if you're into a bit of fantasy.